The biggest challenges when designing a website is knowing what values to use throughout your design process. Now, take a look here. When I go into Divi 5 and I want to say, for example, add a blurb, you notice that it comes in with these default values. The challenge is we need to go in and add specific sizes to this. So you would come over here to design, and then you want to say title text. Now notice how many times I'm clicking. So this is heading 4. By default, it's set to 18 pixels. But of course, we know that in 2026, you cannot be using pixels, rems, or ems when designing. You need to use clamp. But where do you get the clamp from? And I'm assuming that you're a new designer or you want to design your website super fast. So this means you have to go through a different process to get all the clamp values and then start adding them as you design. Now, okay, this is the heading, but what about the paragraph text? Well, the paragraph text, you have to come over here to body text, the same thing. Everywhere you go, you're going to be met with these values that you need to put in. And this can be very challenging. Now, this does not only apply to blurbs, by the way. It's pretty much every single module. So if I come over here and let's say I want to add a button, now that's the default one. I may need to go in and make some changes to some values. Okay, let's add another module. Let's say this time it is a call to action. Okay, again, if you look at that, the text is way too small. You cannot use this out of the box as you design your websites. Now, let's take a look at headings. Let's say you want to add a heading. If I come over here and put on a heading, and let's say you do decide to set it to heading 2. Well, that's fine. If you come over here to design, you go to heading text, set it to heading 2. Now, do you see how small that is? This cannot be used out of the box. And this applies to pretty much all the modules. Today, I have some exciting news because this issue that I'm talking about has been resolved in Krafter Pro. Krafter Pro is the design system for Divi 5. This is the design system that UI designers also use. It follows the same path that UI designers use. Now, why am I saying this? Well, first of all, it has clamp values. Let me show you how that works. So if I were to come over here and add a heading, now I want you to see the difference. I'm going to choose heading here, and let's assume that this needs to be a heading 1. All I have to do is to come over here to the top and then choose heading 1. Now, do you see that the size has already been chosen? 100%. I don't need to go in and make any further changes to this. I don't need to go in and specify what size this is. And by the way, you can see here, this is our clamp value. It has already been added automatically. So all you're doing is clicking the heading as you're designing. Okay, let's say you are designing along and the next thing you want to add here is perhaps a paragraph text. So let's go ahead and add the text. Do you see that this is the text that is actually needed when designing the website? Next, let's add some blurbs because I know I made some examples with blurbs. All right, so if I do that, well, first of all, this is out of the box, pretty much what you get with Divi. But if I select that and come over here to the top, you'll notice that I have custom blurbs. Now, this is the right size. Do you see that there has been a change here? Now, I know it may not be very apparent. Now, let's go ahead and add another one. I'm going to come over here, add a blurb, but this time I want this to have the primary color. Okay, so I'm going to say kblurb primary. Now, do you see that? It's taking the color of this website branding. Okay, and let's say you need dark version, but for the dark version, I'm going to do it on a separate section. So I'm just going to highlight this, make this a bit smaller, make it look a bit more realistic. Okay, now what differs is if I were to save this and do a preview on the front end, you're going to notice that out of the box, this looks clean. If I hover over it, notice that it has a hover effect. You see that? Both of them have a hover effect. It's very subtle, but it tells the user that, look, there is something clickable here, right? It just brings a bit of life to your design. Of course, this needs to have an image. So let's go ahead and do that so it looks much, much better. So I'm going to choose my first one here and then go to image and icon. And then I'm just going to select my image here like that. Okay, now you can see it looks much, much better. I'm going to do the same here as well. Choose an image like that. And now when I save and let's do a quick preview, I'm just going to refresh this. And now you can see it looks like a proper blurb on our website. It looks very clean, it's well designed, and the hover effect also works. But of course, when you design websites, you're going to have other sections that are dark or muted. Well, how do we resolve that? Well, it's very, very easy. All our colors are already set for us, and this is one of the key features in Krafter Pro. So if I choose this section here and then go to background, I don't need to actually go into the color picker like what you would need to do with a brand new version of Divi. No, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is to collapse this, and then you just need to go to background light, KBG light. Boom. Just like that, you have your light background. Now let's go in and add another one. But this time I'm going to do something different. It is going to have blurbs inside. So I'm going to add my blurb here. And I'm going to change this to the lighter version. Okay. So I'm going to select this, come over here to the top, and then choose dark, because I want this section to be dark mode. So all I have to do now is to select my rows. And by the way, this is a new feature in Krafter Pro. If I select this row, and I go to elements and choose this column, right? I can now come over here to the top and then choose auto grid. Okay. Now the beauty of this auto grid now, it has dynamic spacing, and this is huge. We don't have pixels anymore for this update. All right. So let's duplicate this a few times, and you'll notice now they're going to be side by side because this is auto grid. If I remove auto grid, everything, is in a column. You see that? But as soon as I activate auto grid, now we have our grid. So I can just add things as many times as I want in here. So to change our background for our section here, I just have to select it, hover over here on background, and then choose my dark background. So now, do you see how this is just perfect in terms of the colors? It just adapts to the background colors. Just as simple as that. So this has taken you, a lot of work and saved you a lot of time. So let's say with this now, you also want to add some headings and some paragraph text. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to select my section here, choose my heading, and let's grab this and add it over here to the top. I just want to show you how exciting this is. So let's just drag and drop it on the bottom here. Okay. So now I'm just going to add some paragraph text like that. Now you're going to find that it's going to be very, very easy to design your layouts. And check this out. I'm going to select this text, and then over here on the design, I'm going to go to text, and look, I have all my variables here. So I'm going to say body text light, and now my text is transformed. Okay, this one here, I want this to be heading 2. So I'm going to come over here and then choose heading 2 or heading 2 light. Or I can also come over here to the top and then choose heading 2 light. Right? So we have pretty much everything where we need it. But you see, these rows also have sizes. So we can't have, paragraph text, this long. It doesn't work. So if I come over here to row settings, I can just go to my row and then choose text row. And then all I have to do is to just center this. So I'd go to my heading text here, center it, and also center my text. So I come over here, center it. Okay. Maybe this may be a bit too much text, so I'm just going to grab a little bit here off of there. Okay. You see that? So now we have these rows. But of course, design is also about spacing. We can see our blurbs here are way too close to our, text that we have over here. So to fix that, all you have to do is to come over here to row settings. And then over here on the spacing, you can say margin top, medium. Now I've added my space. If you wanted a bit more, you can say margin top, extra large, for example. And now you've added your spacing. But of course, this is a bit too much. Let's go with a margin top, large. Okay, so this is a bit more realistic. But of course, we're also going to need some spacing or some white space around our section. And we have the ability here to go in and choose that. So if I come over here to a section, you notice now we have section large, we have medium. It's medium by default, by the way, so we have to go large. And now this looks much better. So as you can see, this is a much easier workflow. If you were to do this over here, it'll be literally, impossible. In fact, this is what I was looking for. If you were to do this with the Divi out of the box, this will be very difficult to achieve. Just your heading here, just going in and, changing your sizes over here, it'll take you way longer. And then if you want to add your dark background, you would come over here, go to content, background. Now, of course, you don't have any variables, so you need to come over here, and then you want to start playing around with this, which is the old way of designing. You cannot be eyeballing color. This doesn't work. You need to be very precise when you choose your colors that you design with. So you cannot be using the color picker anymore in 2026 with Divi. All right, so let me show you also something that's also very interesting. So of course you may be saying, but Mac, we've seen you demoing this before. Now, what's really cool now is over here is where all the modules are updated and changed. Every time you have a module that has pixels or ems, all that has been changed. It's all fluid and dynamic. So these are all the headings. And by the way, all these are fluid and responsive. I want you to take a look at these headings. If I do this, it's almost like there's an elastic band. You see that? They change size. You don't even need to go in and add any values. So this was going to allow you to design these websites really fast. So these are all our headings. These are our light headings. If you want to have a darker background, if we go on, these are our accordions. This is our audio. So you can see pretty much, your blogs. This is the darker version. These are our blurbs, all the buttons. This is our circle counter. You get the idea here. All these are the row sizes that you actually need to use when you design your websites. Most people, when they design their websites, they don't use custom rows. They just slap everything with one content row and assume that that is the proper way of designing websites. Absolutely not. So if I continue on here, you can see we have our contact form. Everything is updated. If someone tries to go in and add all their messages, you can see it's visual. When you click on it, the color changes to a slightly darker color, and it just makes it easier for you to see what's going on. Here's our countdown timer. All these values now are all fluid. Over here, we have our bars, our post carousel. We have our gallery. You can see I've made all these changes. The hover color here has changed, and the icon has changed as well. We have our call to actions. We have our email opt-in. All these, look at all these icons. So you can choose which icon you want to use based on its application. If you're going to add an icon to a custom component, which is very small, of course you want to go with the small icon. And then you use the bigger icons, on different occasions. So you can see here, even the logins, everything has been updated. If you see this light one here, it's for the darker version, by the way, okay? It doesn't mean that it is not done properly. All these counters, everything here has been redesigned. Look at the search, if you go in there and search, you can see it's interactive. If you go in and start typing, everything is just very subtle and well designed. Our tabs, you can see here, the tabs are also designed properly. Our testimonials, the images, we have the normal one here. We have the black and white, and we also have the, what's it called again? The sepia tone. So as you can see, all these modules here are redesigned. All the sections, pretty much everything that you need in your design workflow has been redesigned to use values that are more in tune with professional design workflows. So you may be asking, well, Mac, how can we get a hold of this? This is just a sneak peek. The final version is going to be ready in a few days. So this is the product that you want to have if you want to design websites using Divi. So when it comes to the pricing, well, it might seem like, whoa, this is a lot of money, to purchase this, because it's going to be 197, okay, 197. But it's not just this that you're purchasing. You're also going to purchase all the templates, the 404 pages, the search results page, pretty much the headings, the footers, all the variations of all of that, all well designed and very precisely designed. What you also get is all these presets, as I've mentioned. You also have a design system which has all your colors, all your font sizes, and all your sizes across the board. And not only that, you're also going to get a complete course that teaches you how to use this new design system. And to add to that, there's also going to be a course which is focused on UI design, how to create those clean, professional websites. You know, as these page builders are now being released, there's going to be a lot of competition to design professional looking websites. I will teach you how to do that. So basically, this is going to be our foundation for all the products that are going to be released in the future, and also all my tutorials on YouTube. Because as you can imagine, we cannot spend time over here adding these values manually. We can't do that. A website is going to take hours to design. But if you use this new design system for Divi 5, it is going to cut that by over 80%. And not only that, this also comes with variables. So all your number variables are there. You can see here, all these are variables. If I were to go back and let's say I go to the colors, all these are all your colors. This is what is powering this design system. So it is a complete design system. It's not one of those products which is half done and then you have to go in and start making your own changes. No, it's a complete design system. Can you go in and make changes to it? Absolutely. You can go in, make some tweaks to things that you may not like. And what I like about this is if you want to rebrand, if you change your color over here on the variable manager, it is going to apply across the whole website, saving you hours of going to each and every page to make changes. And I'll show you how to do this properly. So if you want to get hold of this, well, the easiest way is to purchase Krafter. Okay, not the Krafter Pro, because of course it's not released yet. If you purchase Krafter, you are going to get this version absolutely free. You're going to be upgraded for free. Okay, but if you don't purchase Krafter in time for the release in a couple of days, this will be going for $197. Krafter currently is going for $77. Anyway, guys, if you haven't joined Divi University yet, I would highly recommend that you go over there to diviuniversity.com. This is the community for Divi users. And as you can see here on the community, people can go in and ask questions and communicate with other fellow designers. I mean, currently we have, so many members. Where are the numbers? Let's see. Leaderboard. Do you see them here? Well, look at that, 1,145. I think this is the active members. You can see there's a lot of members here. And if we go to spaces, in fact, this is where we can check really how many people are in our community. So in the free community here, we have 2,567 members. A lot of members, okay? And the one thing I also want to talk about here is the Divi 5 Mastery course. This course has 1,133 students. This is a course that you need if you want to get up and running super fast with Divi 5. As you know, it has been updated so much. So this course here is going to be also updated to the latest features that Divi 5 has. And this course is only $27. The link to that is in the video description below. So the price may also change depending on how much work really goes in. So get it now when it's only $27, because if I do increase the price, you will not be affected by the new price. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I thought I'd just give you a quick preview into Krafter Pro, which is going to be our new design system. So for those of you that are using Krafter at the moment, please bear with me, because this is going to come with a lot of updates, a lot of changes. So this is the version that you need to have. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. And as always, thank you very much for your patience and support. I know some of you really wants to see things happening super fast, but sometimes I don't deliver on time. So thank you for your patience. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.